Hey everyone, let's have a goals check-in. Q1 is over and we need to see how I'm doing on my reading and life goals and what I want to do in Q2. Now, this video comes with a caveat. I'm coming to you from a very tired and very frustrated place, so things might sound a little bit worse than they are. I'm fine overall. I'm just, so. Let's start with reading, where everything is much more fine than in my life goals. Reading-wise, I'm doing fine. I set myself the goal of reading 100 books in total this year, and in Q1 I already read 27 books. I need to put this somewhere else. Of those 27 books, 16 were on audio, 7 were ebooks, and 4 were physical books. As usual, it's an even split with a tendency of more audiobooks this time, which is okay. I don't mind that. Then, when it comes to pages, I actually did read a lot. I read 3,269 pages, which is my average 1,000 page per month, which is what I usually do, which is what I'm happy with, and I can reach without any stress usually, so that's good. Minute-wise though, I listened to 8,939 minutes, which is an average of 3,000 minutes per month, which is way more than I usually do. Normally I manage or don't struggle with 2,000 minutes per month, and I don't really know what happened other than I may have been a little bit more stressed listening than I was expecting and out and about stress walking more, but other than that, I'm quite happy with that. I'm making progress on my audiobooks, and I even managed to listen to longer things or also read longer things, because the average length of the books I read so far are 27 pages and 526 minutes. Now, I've never thought about what I'm actually striving for. I always wanted the number to be higher than the quarter before or the year before, and I recently thought about that for me, a good average for books is 300 pages. I think a 300-page book is a good length book, but most of the books I read tend to be under 200 pages. That's because I tend to want to finish things and I'm struggling with bigger books. So I'm quite happy. 272 is not bad. So for the rest of the year, my goal is to keep this over 270 and not fall under. Let's see if I can do that. The same with audiobooks. I think I tend to have a decision mark whether I want to listen to something or if I put it off is around 10 hours, which would be 600 minutes. And I think 10 hours is a long audiobook already, but it's also a doable audiobook. So I would like to reach an average of 600 minutes per book, but I'm happy if I don't fall under those 526 pages. In the first quarter, I already also DNF'd 2 books, which is kind of normal for me. I'm not a big DNF'er. I struggle with putting books aside. I'm much better at fighting to the end. But if I really, really don't like it, I can put it down. And I need to get better at this, but there's no way of making me stop reading books, even if I don't like them. A main goal for me this year when it comes to reading is reading my own books and reading my wishlist books. You might remember when I reduced my TBR pile, my strategy was to move books to my wishlists instead of buying them, which works really fine. I don't buy as many books, but I also don't buy the books from the wishlist. So I started this year to track what I'm actually reading from my wish lists. And I'm really, really happy to say that 40%, 11 books, of my reading this year were from my wish list. That's pretty good. And let's see if we can up that a little bit, because I tend to put all the books I want to read on a wish list when I'm not immediately looking for a book to start right now. And TBR books are books that I have in some form, but don't start right away reading. Even if it's just 1 or 2 days that they are in my TBR, I count them as TBR books. Normally, mostly those are physical books, but recently I've accumulated a few digital books in my TBR as well. Some because they are later books in a series, but they were on sale, and others because I keep forgetting to read them. Yeah, and pre-orders. I received a lot of pre-orders this year. I don't remember having done them. I don't normally do pre-orders, but yeah, I have some of those. So with the TBR books, I read only 23%, which is 9, which is also not bad, but I could increase that because my TBR is a little bit higher than I would like. It's still under 20, but I would like to have a TBR below 10 books. Another ongoing goal for me is finishing series. There's this long goal of me wanting to finish my reread of The Discworld, and so far I've read 1 book this year towards the goal. I apparently only have 4 books left, which is good. I thought it was 5, but I just looked, it's 4. Good for me. The other series I want to finish and putting a lot of effort in is the Cosmere books by Brandon Sanderson, and I'm struggling my way through the Stormlight Archive, which is the main series I have left over. And yeah, the first book I really didn't enjoy, the second book was much better, but the challenge with those is the audiobooks are over 40 hours. I think the third one is now 60 hours, which of course makes for all the minutes I've been listening to, but they're long and very epic. Not my favorite, let's say it like that. Another series I want to focus on and also am struggling my way through is The Husky and His White Cat Shizun. So far I've read 3 books in the series this year. I think that makes, there are 9, I read 5 books left over. Not all are published yet, but this series is relying heavily on misunderstandings and lacking editing, so there's a lot of repetitions. And the last book really tested me, so I may DNF the series at some point if this doesn't get better. We'll see. So far, my reading is really doing well. Let's see of other things I'm tracking. I started tracking series books a little bit differently. So now I'm tracking when I'm reading a first in a series and the latest in a series and all series books. So I've read 2 first books in a series. I'm on track or finished with 1 series. And I read 12 books in series, so 44% of my reading were series books in general, which is understandable with all the series that I want to finish and focus on. I've also been rereading a lot that were also series books, so I reread 9 books this year already, which are 33% of my reading. With other goals like nonfiction, classics and translations, I would like to aim for 20%, but I'm not doing so well there. So far I've read 4 nonfiction books, which only makes up 14% of my reading. Classics I've read even less, 2 only, which is 7% of my reading this year so far. And translations I've only read 3, which are 11% of my reading. So I should focus on that in the next quarter a little bit more, but I keep forgetting to. So I'm not sure if I'm really focusing on that because I'm a lot of mood reading and focusing on the Cosmere right now, which is not in with classics and translations and nonfiction. But we'll see. I recently thought about rereading a few of my nonfiction books again, so maybe I will do that in the quarter that is coming up now to improve those numbers. But overall, I'm quite happy with how my reading is going. I'm reading the books I want to read, I'm making progress on the goals I set myself, and I'm happy with what I'm reading, so that is good. Which brings us to my life goals and where the frustration lies. I am trying this year to get myself out of survival mode, which means to have more energy again and not only run on autopilot and rely heavily on my habits and routines to get me through the day. And I did do quite well in the beginning of the year. I tried focusing or tracking how my energy levels are, but throughout the month I have noticed I'm not very good at that. I'm not good at tracking energy levels or rating anything. You hardly ever see me rate anything in 1 to 10 because I'm not good at that. I've looked at a lot of energy trackers and all of them require you to say, how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 or something like that. And I can't do that. I started tracking how I wake up because that is affecting a lot of my energy, the lack of sleep I'm getting and the sleep deprivation I run on a lot. And so I'm trying to see if I wake up exhausted or energized. And I noticed that I started changing what I value as neutral, which I started calling tired, because I mostly wake up in the form of not energized and not exhausted. And so I switched from calling it tired, from what I did in January, to calling it neutral. And that makes it feel less bad, but I'm mostly waking up in a more neutral state than energized or exhausted, which isn't too bad, I think. I've also noticed throughout the year that implementing more short movement breaks, like going on more shorter walks, is actually boosting my energy to do something afterwards. So for example, at work we started implementing going for a short walk after lunch with some colleagues, and that is helping to get through the afternoon lull that you sometimes have after lunch, where you're like, oh, I have to start again and do stuff. So that is helping. But I also noticed that if I go for a short walk after work, then when I come home, I do have energy to do something. Sometimes it's just editing vlogs that I would like to do, but I feel like leaving the office staring at a computer for 8 hours, that I don't feel like doing any editing. But when I take a detour of like 10 minutes, 15-minute walk home, then I do feel more energized and can sit down and be productive and creative for a little while again, and don't have to crash on my couch immediately. So those things are good. But what I also noticed is, as soon as things are stressful, as soon as my mood is running away from me, as soon as I'm frustrated, and we all know I get frustrated easily, I don't want to go on a walk and I don't feel like doing anything, and I want to go home straight and crash on my couch. So the struggle is, as usual, doing the good things when things are not easy. So when I have a bad day at work, or when things are stressful at work, that I'm already tired after work, making myself go on a walk and do the healthy things, the good things, is hard. Which, no surprise there, but it keeps me in the low energy state a lot. So what does that mean? It means I'm not really self-regulated. Mostly because I am very dependent on work, and I've noticed this year that I managed to get out of burnout and into bore out immediately. So, I changed tasks and positions, and this year it's been very slow and very quiet, so I haven't been stressed at work, but I haven't been challenged at work either. So it is a little bit frustrating. The other frustrating thing is that I keep coming back to 9 to 5 not working well for my chronotype, for my disposition, for everything. Also, working in an office, it's not the office that's the bad part, but working on a computer 8 hours really is not helping when all my hobbies, or a huge part of my hobbies, also are sitting down, being sedentary, and a lot of it on a computer as well. So that is rather counterproductive. And I've seen a lot of content recently from productivity, self-improvement people, that you just need to go and leave those things behind, change positions, follow your dreams, blah, blah, blah. But what I always come back to is, yes, I don't like 9 to 5, but I do like my stable and safe income. So why would I want to leave that? It's very comfortable. And I know that's always a problem when you get too comfortable, but I'm way not ambitious and driven enough to do something else. And I don't even know what. So there is this, I need to get used to get the most out of this situation. But yeah, we'll have to see if things at work change in the next months, with like how much I have to do, or what I have to do, or what the situation there. And then I might re-evaluate things. But for now, I'm just in a little bit of an unhappy state of seeing where I want to go, seeing how I could be, and not actually achieving it. Other things that I wanted to do in Q1 were basically spring cleaning, to have things set up in a better way that maintenance is easier. And I started. I rearranged the kitchen stuff a little bit so that everything has its place now, and it should be easier to keep clean. But of course, it's me. I'm struggling with flat surfaces and tabletops. The same with the book declutter. I started decluttering books, and I haven't done it methodically. I basically donated a lot of the YA series and other books that I have to the neighborhood, but I think I've reached the peak of the books that I have that people want to read. So I have a lot of German books that I read when I was younger, where I'm not exactly sure if people still want to read them, and they're not classics, they're just things that I got when I was a kid. And yeah, then there are all the obscure and meh books that I read in English. Keep in mind, I live in Germany, so obscure and meh books are not really popular. And if I didn't particularly enjoy them, and if they're not popular, I don't really see my neighborhood wanting them. So I need to figure out what to do there and do it more methodically than I have in recent weeks. But that's the goal for Q2. I definitely want to see that shelf there needs decluttering, and it's mostly literary books that are difficult to declutter because I do find it easy to let go of the Hunger Games. I put them outside, they were gone in a few minutes. But I don't know, something that no one has ever heard of? Is that working? Or should I find a place to donate them? I also wanted to declutter my clothes. But I'm going back and forth on that because I really don't want to go shopping. I don't see things I would like. The things I have are way too old and worn out to, basically donate anywhere, but throwing them away feels bad as well. So I'm keep getting stuck of what I want to do there. I don't have many clothes. You see me wearing the same things all the time. You probably know all my wardrobe anyway. But I don't know. I'm a little undecided on that, so I might not actually follow through on anything of that, which mostly leaves 2 more life goals. Let's do the Korean one first, which is easy. I took a break again. I had a good streak of managing to do Korean in the morning before I had breakfast, so in between morning exercise and before I sat down with breakfast, and usually I turn on my computer, then I watch some YouTube. And if I could squeeze in a few lessons, or at least one lesson between the exercise and the YouTube time, I was doing good. But recently I started working early from home before going to the office, because as there was little to do, I could do some at home and then I could leave work earlier. But that took away the time and space I had for the Korean. It's a balancing thing. I kind of valued going home earlier better or more than practicing the Korean. And doing the Korean after work never works. I decided to take a break again and cancel the program that I'm using. So I think in July the contract or subscription will not extend again. So I could pick it up again, but currently with how things are going, I am not prioritizing that. I still want to learn it at some point, but I need to fix other things first, especially this frustration that I am having and my daily energy levels for focused work. Which leaves one more thing that is connected to energy and overall happiness and contentment, and it's a lot to do with eating. So if you want to skip this part, just go ahead. I decided to stop eating chocolate sometime in November due to health reasons, and I wanted to also see if that is affecting my energy levels or anything else, because it's a lot less chocolate and fat, and the amount of chocolate I was eating is not on an you eat a few pieces a day level. So I did that, and I was very surprised how easy it was to let go of eating chocolate. Mostly I want to eat something when I'm on my couch, and that I'm mostly replaced it with nuts, so that's okay, or something else. Sometimes I even had times where I wasn't eating anything automatically when I was sitting on my couch streaming series. But then March came, and March was rather stressful on varying levels, and I fell back on the bad habit of having chocolate every evening, and I didn't feel good for it. In March I was a lot exhausted, I was struggling a lot, and I noticed that a little bit of chocolate every now and then is good for my mood and for other energy levels, but chocolate every day and a lot of chocolate is not so good. So in April, I started trying no chocolate at all, cold turkey, like on the couch in the evening, and that's going well so far. And I do feel a little bit better for having less chocolate, but I'm having other issues, so the mood is definitely not doing well and would probably benefit from chocolate, but I'm trying to get around it. Something else that was highlighted in March again is that I don't like dinner, or I'm bad at making dinner and having dinner, which is replaced by chocolate a lot, and that makes it easy. I'm eating enough and I'm not struggling with hunger and whatever. So that is something that was brought back to me, how much I don't like thinking about food all the time and preparing food, and how I'm not eating enough protein all the time. So I am trying something that I don't think is going to be successful because it doesn't work on how I want to eat, but it might help. So what I basically started doing yesterday, because I finally got the product here, is trying protein meal shake things. So it's a shake, but it's the meal replacement shake with a lot of protein. And I'm trying to do that. The goal is to have it at the office, so that before I go home, I have one of those shakes that I don't come home hungry and without a plan of what to eat and what to do. And so that I might not feel so many cravings for eating something on the couch. We'll see how that works out. I have no clue. I basically have breakfast and lunch I'm pretty good at. I stopped cooking a little bit in recent weeks because of frustration and stress and exhaustion, but usually I am good at preparing lunch for work so that I don't just eat anything that's available in the cafeteria. And I want to see if that is changing my energy levels and boosting my energy for exercise. Oh, that's what I forgot, exercise. I wanted to talk about exercise as well, because I did a performance analysis a few weeks back and I got a 12-week running schedule and plan to improve my running. So that's what I want to focus on for exercise this quarter. I'm on week 4, and what I can say so far is that it's polarized training. That's the popular way of training right now. You run, a lot of your running is very, very low level or low intensity, and then high level intensity is very high level. So you're running very low intensity and very high intensity. And yeah, the program I got is, it's not as much fun to run. I'm not enjoying the running as much. And I'm curious to see if I will see progress and improvement on my running once the program is done. But right now, I'm not really sure if that is something I can continue doing with the running after those 12 weeks, depending on how much progress I'm making and what can be done afterwards. So I'm going to have a performance analysis. I'm going to schedule one after those 12 weeks to see how I'm doing. So with the focus on running, I also want to focus on more strength training. A lot of data suggests that women especially need more strength training than we do for our bone density to help us age better. So I really need to read Outlive by Peter Attia. It's been everywhere, and all the research he's done. He seems to be the expert on those things, but I've been avoiding it because I'm not good at doing the hard things when it comes to weight training and resistance training. I'm rather more like I'm doing something, but not enough. So I might have to increase that. And I noticed that if I manage to go twice a week to the gym, I'm good. Especially since the sun is coming out now, Sundays, I often rather like to go on a walk and be outside than go to the gym. But we'll see how that is developing. The main focus for exercise is running and improving my running skills, the VO2 max that they're always talking about. So now I rambled on a lot. So as you can see, a lot of things are making progress, but not as fast as I would like. I also noticed that even though I pretend or try to set a goal that I am watching less series or am spending less time on my couch, the energy for that is not really there, and I also noticed that it's something I want to do, but I'm not really sure how much of that is just the routine that I'm hanging on to because I'm still a little bit too much in survival mode. So Q2 might bring some changes for everything, either for the better or for the worse. I do want to focus on trying different eating, focus on the running, and declutter more, because I am getting more and more stressed with the clutter I'm having and the chaos. I'm getting better at maintenance cleaning, so that's good. The plan is working, but I'm not at the end yet. It's still work in progress. And that's enough from me. Let me know how you are doing with your reading goals. Are you achieving your targets, or have you let go of some goals already? Are you participating in any reading challenges? I decided not to do any challenges because they don't particularly match my other goals, and I always find reading challenges kind of arbitrary in what books you pick up. And since I'm stressed out in so many other ways, I don't need that stressor. And then, yeah, let me know how you're doing with that. Also, how are your life goals? How are your energy levels? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you happy? Do you tend to find yourself frustrated a lot more than usual? What do you do then? I'm gonna go for a walk now because it's sunny outside, and let's see when I get to edit this. Thank you all for watching.